Hello everyone and welcome back to Prestige Reef. Once again it's that time of year where thousands of like-minded fish weirdos make the pilgrimage to MACNA. Every year, MACNA's location changes, with last year in Vegas being one of the best times of my life. Therefore I had high expectations. This year the conference was to be held at the Swan and Dolphin Resort in Orlando, so hopefully it was going to be just as good. I'll be honest with you, some videos on this channel are easier to make than others, with shows being on the less demanding end of the scale. This one, however, has troubled me. Usually you just show off some nice products, add some nice coral footage, and film YouTubers behaving badly. Sounds easy. This video is different though, because I wanted to try to capture the true essence of what MACNA is really like, but this wasn't the average MACNA. Coming from the UK where you don't have these shows, you realise just how special it can be to take 3 days away from the rest of the world and be fully immersed in a hobby we all love. Sadly, this year there was one thing at the forefront of everyone's minds which did put a slight damper on things: Hurricane Dorian. There was literally no getting away from it, as people were genuinely fearful of what might happen to them, their homes, and in my case, my travel plans, when they closed the airport and cancelled my flights. This fear understandably led to a lower turnout than usual, and some of the vendors going home early for safety reasons and not wanting to be stuck with tens of thousands of dollars worth of livestock and no way to get home. I've said this before, the people that are attending these events are absolutely the lifeblood of them, and a sense of impending doom isn't the best foundation for a great atmosphere. Don't get me wrong, I still had a good time, but that's mainly because there is nothing a YouTuber loves more than terrorising people with their camera. So let's get this started. There were 4 products which stood out to me this year. Reef Kinetics have supersized their Reef bot, with this being the Reef Bot Pro. Similar to the original version, this tests a whole range of water parameters automatically, but can also do multiple different samples at the same time. Although it isn't designed for the average hobbyist, it will significantly change the lives of your local fish shops by cutting out the need for them to manually test both their water and their customers. Next up on my list of standout products was this automatic frozen food dispenser by IND Creations, which appears to be the biggest advancement in automatic fish feeding for a long time. Unfortunately, the rep wasn't available to speak to. However, I would be very interested in seeing a working example of this in the future. Next is one many people have been waiting for. There have been whispers for a while now that Ecotech were designing their own dosing pump, and it's good to finally see the Versa on display, and I look forward to getting my hands on a couple in the near future for my new fish room. They can be run individually or daisy-chained together and will be controlled via Ecotech's new Mobius app. Finally, although not entirely new, this was the first time I got to meet Terence at the Neptune booth, who gave me a complete rundown of everything the Apex can do, along with their Trident water tester. I can really see why people swear by their products, and if I had one myself, I get the feeling I would be heavily dependent on it. They also seem to pride themselves in having a stunning display tank at every single show. A little bit of insider gossip is that Hanna have plans for a new nitrate checker to add to their range of existing products, but no word on when that will be available just yet. As usual, unlike me, the real social media stars were out in force, and it was the first time I had the pleasure of meeting Coralfish 12G, Aquaman Shalom, and the Coral Reef Talk. Some of them were even showing off their throwing skills. Although some of them were certainly better at it than others. I also got to share a drink with Rachel's Reef, and something tells me this is the only place in the world where I can drink a urine-coloured liquid out of a specimen cup and no one thinks anything is weird about it. And oh yes, at one point Hillary made me wear her crown. It's not just social media influencers though. I love meeting you guys, and you all know by now that whenever you make me feel famous, I take a picture with you, so you can feel famous too. The only problem with that is that people now know that I do that, and this show I had over 50 pictures with people, which was too many to fit into this video, so I'm sorry if I didn't get you all in. One of the nice things about these events is that everyone wants to show off their best livestock, and they have some jaw-dropping fish and corals on display, with species I'm almost certain most people have never seen in person before. It's not just unusual species though which grabbed my attention. It doesn't matter how many times I see captive bred yellow tangs or angelfish, it still amazes me to see how far we've come in such a short space of time with regards to breeding fish, because I remember at one point people were saying that some of these species would be impossible to raise in captivity. Coming from the UK, the corals here never disappoint either, and it's good to meet the people that have already succeeded in setting up coral farms. As you know by now, this is what I'm doing myself, and if you want to follow the progress of it, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. One of my favourite vendors is Mod Corals. I've met him at several shows now and he's always great to talk to, and you can clearly see he loves what he's doing. So if you're lucky enough to have him at your next show, go and say hello. Many of you will know that I have a thing for mushroom corals and fungia, and he had some of the nicest examples I've ever seen. He also had one of the weirdest bubble tip anemones. Could this be the beginning of the bounce bubble tip craze? All in all, this year wasn't a true representation of what MACNA is really like, so if this was your first show, don't be disheartened and try again next year in Phoenix. You never know, although unlikely, I might even get the chance to join you again myself. I hope you enjoyed watching my video. Please feel free to comment below if you have any questions. If you did enjoy it, why not click that like and subscribe button. Have a good week and I'll see you next time. As always, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that supports the channel on Patreon. Never underestimate the value of what you do with regards to keeping this channel going. You've all been brilliant. Thank you.